Yes, Prime Days are a bit early this year, and it's a chance to get good deals, make useful purchases, and also buy things for pleasure. But this year, we decided to give it a little twist. We put all of this more or less with the staying cool theme. So first, we're changing the color. Yeah, technology is incredible. Let me do it again. Wow, let me do it again. Get a Karina at home, it's better than Alexa. As you can see, this is a multi-product video. As usual, for this type of video, we recommend you install a price tracker because there are real and fake promotions. We use the Keppa extension, but there are others out there. Also, one last note before we start. As usual, some of the products we're going to show you are commercial collaborations, but it's still a selection made by the team to stay relevant. Of course, we let you know when it's a commercial collaboration, that's the least we can do. And we're going to start with the simplest way to cool off, the one everyone knows, the good old fan. Has technology evolved a bit in fans? But first, before that, let's recall a basic principle of thermodynamics. How does a fan work? A fan doesn't cool the air, it moves the air around. And as a result, your sweat evaporates better. And that's what gives you a feeling of coolness. But fans can also be used for something else. They can be used to get hot air out of a room. It's cooler outside. So if you point the fan toward the window, it pushes the hot air out. So we did some digging and found a fan that we think is pretty clever. The Rowenta Turbo Silence Compact 3D Nomad. And its main advantage, as its name suggests, is its portability. In fact, it works with a USB-C connection. Don't worry, the charger and cable are included. But as a result, it can also run on an external battery. Just be aware the external battery is not included in the box. With an external battery at home, you can plug in the fan and carry it anywhere, which is convenient since you don't need to find an outlet each time. Rowenta claims 30 hours of battery life with a battery, but of course that depends on the power bank you have. The fan itself is pretty clever. It offers 20 speeds, it's rather quiet. Only 18 dB at minimum speed. It also has a kind of 3D ventilation system that means in addition to tilting sideways, it can also tilt upwards. So you can set it to move in a pretty interesting way to blow air throughout the whole room. It's quite compact, but still it's powerful. 1800 cubic meters of air per hour. And honestly, we tested the range and it's pretty good. There are two things I also like about this fan. First, there's a promise of 15 years of repairability by Rowenta. And also when you take it apart, for example, to store it in the winter, there are quite a few parts you can store directly in the base. In short, if you're looking for a simple but clever fan, we recommend this model. Normally with Prime Days, you should find it for around €100. It's a bit expensive for a fan, but don't forget that it's repairable. I'd like to talk to you about two other types of fans, but we'll do that a little later in the video. I want to talk to you about products that will help you avoid getting overheated this summer, because we're all the same. When the weather's nice, we put on shorts, even though we don't usually wear them. We're in a bit of a hurry and then we can't remember where we put our keys. Or that beautiful tote bag, we can't remember where we left it. And that's where the Ugreen Fine Track series comes in. They're little trackers. You can attach them to all your important items, keys, bags, suitcases, wallets, and you'll be able to find them using your location services, or make them ring to find them behind the couch. I have several products to show you. The Ugreen Fine Track Mini 2 Smart Finder and the Ugreen Fine Track 2 Smart Finder. First, what you need to know is that these two are compatible with Apple Find My, so they'll work perfectly with your location app. They have super loud alerts, 110 dB, so even if your keys are under a beach towel at the bottom of a bag, you'll hear them. A very practical little detail. They are equipped. These two trackers have fluorescent strips that can help you find them at the bottom of a bag. And to keep your mind fresh and at ease for longer, the battery life has been improved. Ugreen claims 2,700 sound alerts, but I also want to introduce you to the Ugreen Fine Track Duo. This one is really interesting for those who have two ecosystems at home. It is compatible with both Apple Find My and Google Find Hub, so whether you're on iPhone or Android, you can use it without any additional app. This one charges via USB-C and has 12 months of battery life. The whole range is designed for everyday durability, resistant to water and dust. So these Prime Days are really the perfect opportunity to gear up wisely and stop losing your stuff. And here's some great news for you. There will be plenty of Ugreen products on sale during these Prime Days. The discounts can go up to almost almost 40% off on some products. We're giving you a whole list of links to Ugreen products we love. It's really the perfect time to get equipped. As I mentioned, I want to talk to you about two types of slightly improved fans and give you a bit of my opinion. You'll see, there are plenty of fans with water tanks, sometimes grandly called cooling columns. And in this type of video, I'll also talk to you about products I like less. As you can guess, this is one of them. So do these fans equipped with water tanks or ice trays cool more than a regular fan? There's a study from the University of Arizona that says yes. Actually, the principle is that it uses water evaporation and it can cool the room by 4 to 6 degrees. I'd really like to find the model that managed to cool by 6 degrees. The principle is that water evaporation absorbs heat, so the air that reaches your skin will be a bit cooler. But be careful, there are limits to the system, and there are things you need to know. It only works if it's dry. If it's hot and humid, it doesn't work at all. Also, there are many models that say you can put ice cubes in, or even have a built-in ice cube tray. There's a bit of controversy here because the colder the water is, the less it will evaporate, so it doesn't really help the system. Actually, the real problem I have with these water columns is that all the ones I've tested two, well, the finishes are poor. They're low-end products. I had leaks pretty quickly. There's still water in the system. I had mold problems. And overall, it's not very powerful. You don't get your money's worth, so I don't recommend this model, for example. On the other hand, if you have a cooling column that you're very happy with and you've been using it for several years, feel free to let us know in the comments. Don't put any links because we're not allowed to put links in YouTube comments. But at least give us the name of the model. However, there's one type of ventilation I really like, ceiling fans, and we've tested one for you. It's the Forovenko silent ceiling fan. So why ceiling fans? It's actually pretty clever. The air gets circulated from top to bottom. As a result, you get a much more even coolness throughout the room. There's no clutter on the floor, so it's great for people living in small spaces. And it's pretty quiet and discreet once installed. Obviously, if you have low ceilings at home, avoid it. It could end badly. On that note, be careful. There are a lot of very simple models to install that attach with a socket like a light bulb. Often the power is very limited. In my opinion, it's not really worth it, so you'll need to do a bit of DIY. You have to install it like you would a ceiling light. This particular model, we found it basic, but simple and effective. There are several fan speeds. There's a remote control, and there's a reversible function because these ceiling fans can also be used in winter. The design is simple, so it won't ruin your decor. And like most models, the lighting is built in, so it will still serve as a ceiling light to illuminate the room. We recommend buying this during Prime Days because generally, ceiling fans are a bit more expensive than standing fans. But what you need to know, and this is a strong argument, ceiling fans are much more durable than standing fans. The motors are generally much more robust, and you can expect a lifespan of 10 to 20 years. As for the price, you'll usually find this one for around 100 to 110 euros during promotions. So we're talking about fans, we're talking about coolness, but there's one kind of coolness we often forget, coolness for your butt. You spend 8 to 10 hours at the office or in front of a video game and your body heats up on the chair, and that's where the new version of the Lenovo Omni Pro comes in. This isn't just a premium office chair, even though it's very premium, it has a system called active airflow built in. It's a ventilation system that's directly integrated into the seat. Under the fabric, there's a fan that spins at 4,000 revolutions per minute. But the idea isn't to blow air at you, it's to suck the air in. Actually, it pulls the hot air and humidity down to get rid of it. And what's clever is that if you get up from the chair, the system turns off and it can automatically start up again when you've been sitting for a certain amount of time. As a result, you stay dry and cool, even during a long gaming session or while you're editing videos. All of this runs on battery power. The battery has a good battery life and is very easy to recharge because it's removable. There are 2 levels of ventilation, 36 hours of battery life on level 1, 9 hours of battery life on level 2. But the new version of the Lenovo Omni Pro is much more than that. First, they have a new type of fabric, the Danish Gabriel Atlantic fabric, which is very resistant to washing, very resistant to wear, and very breathable. But above all, you see, in terms of design, it's a chair with lots of ergonomic features. It's even the world's first chair with dynamic ergonomics. And you won't have to deal with tons of levers to do that. that. If you want to lean toward your screen, the backrest will follow you. When you let go, it adapts. As you can see, this whole structure, this sort of spine of the chair, will follow your every movement and will constantly support your back, your neck, and your arms. There are 5 preset positions for maximum comfort depending on what you're doing. You can buy it with the footrest option, and that will allow you to take wonderful naps at 160 degrees, and that's when you'll activate the Omni Stretch mode. It's a 5-minute motorized cycle that will decompress your spine. Honestly, I tried it and it works pretty well. So if you're looking for maximum comfort in a chair and coolness, I'll put the link to the official Libanovo website and the Amazon links for you. Go check it out, and also know that they have models that are suitable for larger sizes. So it's a premium chair, it's an investment. But since it's promotion season and they've just launched it, there will probably be some interesting deals. We recommend you follow the links. We're sticking with ways to stay cool, but this time we're going to take it up a notch. We're going to talk about air conditioning. As we know, air conditioning is a very controversial topic. We don't want to get into controversy in this video. You can do that in the comments. Anyway, stirring the air is always good for coolness. We have a pretty pragmatic opinion. A reasonable use of air conditioning doesn't prevent us from fighting against the effects of climate change. And whether we like it or not, for us, the climate has changed. More and more of us are suffering from the heat as early as spring. And it's not just a matter of comfort or vulnerability. It's a matter of health, especially for children and the elderly, but even for you and me, it has consequences on our health, especially on sleep. Here, I'll take my own case as an example. I don't really like the heat, but I can live with it. However, I can't sleep if it's over 26 degrees, and that really affects my health. I've tried everything, you know, fans, damp sheets, getting rid of hot air. Nothing works in the apartment where I currently live. The bedroom is like an oven. I'm a renter, like many of you. So it's impossible to do any renovations to improve things. That's why I wanted to test 2 portable air conditioning systems for you that don't require major work. Last year we already showed you a camping air conditioner. It works pretty well for occasional use for small rooms. But this year I tested 2 portable air conditioners with real high power rated at 12,000 BTUs. But you'll see these are 2 very different systems. Before that, just like I did for the fans, a quick thermodynamics reminder. How does an air conditioner work? An air conditioner doesn't create cold. It takes the heat from your room, moves it somewhere else, and releases it outside. For those who really want to understand in detail, I have a video I highly recommend to you. The channel Comme un pingouin dans le désert made the video How to Choose Your Air Conditioner. Thanks to Oleg from the community for recommending it. I learned a lot. I'll start by talking about the Medea Silent Portable Air Conditioner, and that's Yanis from our team who tests it daily at his place. We're dealing with what's called a classic portable AC. The compressor is inside the unit. You have just one unit. The hot air will be vented outside through a single hose. And let's say it right away, this is the simplest format to install. You seal a window, leave an opening for the hose, and it works. Another advantage of this system is that it's much cheaper than a real air conditioner or a portable split air conditioner, which I'll talk about later, and it's pretty convenient to move it from one room to another as long as you equip each window. Generally, this type of portable air conditioner also functions as a fan and a dehumidifier. Here, we have a pretty modern model. It works with an app. You can connect it to your home assistants. There are timers, night mode, remote control, and so on. The downside, however, of these strictly portable systems is that they're quite noisy because the compressor is inside the room. For sleeping, if you're sensitive to noise, it's not necessarily easy. Also, as the video I recommended explains, it can create a negative pressure in the room, meaning it will tend to draw in hot air through all the openings in the room. That's why sealing is so important, but I'll come back to that. I wanted to try it out myself, so here I am testing the high end of portable air conditioning, the Medea Porta Split. Here, actually, the principle and the design are quite successful. It's about taking everything that's good about a real split air conditioner and adapting it to a format that's still portable and easy to install. So we have something that's still much bigger, but we have an indoor unit and an outdoor unit connected by a link. Actually, the idea is that the noisiest part, the compressor, you can put it outside. And in theory, that's much smarter and much more efficient. Since the hot air is directly expelled outside, you don't have a big hot air duct in the room. You don't need a specialist for heavy installation, since a split air conditioner still requires making a hole in load-bearing walls. So it's really a very interesting option for tenants who aren't allowed to do major work. And since the overall energy efficiency is still better than a simple portable air conditioner, it's going to use less electricity. Now, this product is still very high-end. It's not as expensive as a real air conditioner, but I don't know what it'll be like with discounts. We're still looking at around €1,000. Also, be careful, you won't be able to disconnect the two units. These are very special hoses. There are both fluids and electricity inside. So it's not suitable for just any type of installation. The best possible setup, and luckily I have this at home, is to be able to put it on a balcony. But otherwise, it also comes with a whole system so you can attach it to a window ledge. Still, be careful with the building regulations. You know, in some buildings, you're not allowed to attach this kind of thing to the windows. And also, just use some common sense. Don't point the outside part toward your neighbor's window unless your neighbor is really someone who... Not nice at all, but fortunately, it also has a heating function. It has dehumidifying functions. For example, my plan is to use it in the bedroom in the summer, and in the winter I'll use it in the office for dehumidification because that's often where we dry the laundry. So, as you can see, if you don't want to bother, get a regular portable air conditioner, but it might use a bit more electricity and be a little less efficient. A portable split air conditioner is an investment. You have to make sure it can fit in your home. And in both cases, there's something very important: sealing the window. Generally, at least with Medea, everything is provided to properly seal your window. Also, just a bit of common sense advice with air conditioners: avoid setting it to 18 degrees. An air conditioner should be used reasonably to cool things down a bit. I set mine to 25 degrees when it's hot, and I sleep wonderfully. Of course, always use passive solutions to cool your home. Keep the shutters closed and ventilate when possible. Insulation and blackout curtains will help you avoid spending too much energy on air conditioning. One of the problems when it's very hot is that as soon as you move, you start sweating all over. You really don't feel like cleaning the house. And here I have a solution for you. The problem with robot vacuums is that they clean very well, but they don't clean everywhere. They miss the corners, they miss the edges. You often have to finish the job by hand. Well, today I'd like to introduce you to the Mova V70 Ultra Complete, which really goes everywhere. Mova, if you don't know them, is a brand that's becoming more and more active in Europe. By the way, it's important to note that they offer a 3-year warranty and they have European after-sales support. But what's really impressive is that it has Maxi Ridge X technology. In fact, it has a mop that can extend up to 16 centimeters plus an extendable side brush of 12 centimeters. Basically, it really goes along the walls, it goes under the furniture. Really, it cleans every corner. And you have to add to that its great power. As for suction, we're at 40,000 pascals, fine dust, debris, pet hair, and that's even on carpets. And for mopping, we have a pressure of 15 newtons with fast rotation, which means it really scrubs the floor. It has advanced navigation with obstacle detection. It will avoid all the little everyday obstacles. You don't have to tidy everything up before cleaning, and it can even cross obstacles up to 9 centimeters high. So things like thresholds, thick carpets, door rails, nothing stops it. As for the station and maintenance, it has a system called Eco Cyclone. It's a bagless system, so there are no consumables, no bags to buy again, which means less waste, lower expenses, and easier maintenance. Everything can be washed with water, and the base is very well designed. You can let it clean for quite a long time without worrying about it. And right now there are some very interesting promotions. On the Mova V70 Ultra Complete, you get a €200 discount. The price goes from €1,399 to €1,199, and that's starting from June 23rd. But if you have a slightly tighter budget, there's also the Mova V50 Ultra Complete, which we talked about before. Here you get a €320 discount. It drops from €999 to €679. We'll share all the links for you. I've been talking about people getting too hot, but we're thinking about animals too. They also have a hard time finding a cool spot in the apartment to cool off a bit. Plus, they have fur everywhere. So, we tested a solution for them. Let's see if it works. We tested cooling mats for dogs and cats. The model we chose is the Baodan Silk one. There are several sizes available, depending on the size of your pet. And the idea is that the fabric inside is breathable ice silk. Actually, you'll see there are 2 types of cooling mats for pets. There are models with gel and models without gel made with silk. So it depends a bit on your pet whether they're a destroyer or not. The gel is made of chemicals. It's not recommended if your pet is going to bite into it. You can refrigerate the gel a bit to increase the cooling sensation. Silk, definitely not. Silk is just placed like that. It's natural heat dissipation. It's machine washable. The reviews on Amazon are pretty glowing, but we wanted to test it ourselves. Does it really work? Well, yes, it works, but don't expect it to be like air conditioning for dogs and cats. The principle is still proven. The fibers capture the animal's body heat and will stay cooler than the floor or their usual bed, so your pet's temperature will go down. The hot dog becomes a sausage. What we noticed is that in moderate heat, at least for me, my cats don't really use it much. But when it got really hot, yes, they went for it. It's the same at Karina's place. Of course, it also depends on your pet's temperament, but it's still a method that's approved by veterinarians, so talk to your veterinarian if you need to. The model we tested is around 20 euros. As usual, just like with all the other products. The link is in the description of this video. We're still talking about staying cool, even if it's not directly about coolness. But we have to work when it's hot. And meetings at work can be tough to follow when it's hot. You come out of a meeting and you've already forgotten half of what was said. It's human, it's normal. Well, that's exactly the problem that the PlotNote Pro is going to solve. First of all, in terms of design, it's an incredible product. It's barely thicker than a credit card. It weighs 30 grams. It slips very easily into a wallet. Or you can stick it directly to the back of your smartphone with MagSafe. That means it's something that's always with you and it won't drain your smartphone's battery. So, what sets this Note Pro version apart from the other Plodes? You have the most advanced version of the Plode, better audio capture, better battery life, and better AI capabilities. It's really a pro model for those who have back-to-back meetings, calls, and decision-making sessions. And the way it works is very simple, even natural. You start recording with just one click. It will capture conversations up to 5 meters around you, even if the environment is noisy, and it will turn all of that into an automatic transcription. This will allow you to get smart summaries, extract key points from a meeting, and generate to-do lists. In short, you go from the noise of a meeting to something directly usable and actionable. And it will also be able to answer some of your questions because there's Ask Claude, where you can ask questions and find useful information. You could almost say that as a result, Claude becomes a small autonomous AI device. And very autonomous because it has up to 50 hours of continuous recording autonomy. And if you leave it on standby, it lasts for weeks. Of course, since we're talking about the professional world, all of this comes with guaranteed security. The data is encrypted end to end. It is compliant with GDPR, SOC 2, and HIPAA. The hosting is secure. In short, your information remains private. The PlotNote Pro works without a mandatory subscription. Right out of the box, you already have all the recording features, synchronization, and 300 minutes of transcription. If you need more than those 300 minutes, then there are subscription options. We provide you with a link so you can check the pricing, and that's what's great. You start for free and then adjust according to your needs. And the good news is that there's a promotion for Prime Days, but it will last even until July 3rd, 17% off the Note Pro plan with the code NOWTECHOFF. We're also including in the links a discount on another model, the Note Pin S. In short, I really recommend it. It's a great tool for meetings without having to use your smartphone. And we're going to finish this big selection of cool things on a fun note. What's a real treat when it's hot? Of course, ice cream. We wanted to try something that's so hyped on TikTok and Instagram. We had to check it out. We called the accountant. We asked if we could buy an ice cream machine. He said no, but we bought it anyway. It's the Ninja Creamy Deluxe ice cream machine. Now you have to be careful. It's not an ice cream maker, but ice cream makers, if you know them, are super bulky. Often you still have to freeze a pretty huge bowl. I know, some people will say, yeah, but Jerome, you just need a regular blender. I make my own ice cream. No, because a regular blender will just crush ice cubes. At best, you'll get a granita-like texture, but that's it. The Ninja Creamy will shave your ice cream. Actually, it's a special blade that shaves your mixture, giving it the consistency consistency you've chosen. Because what is ice cream really? It's the mixture and the injection of air that create different textures and therefore different pleasures. So shaving your mixture with the blade will inject air into the mixture. And if, for example, you want a smooth ice cream, very, very light, ultra creamy like Italian ice cream, you can do that, but there are plenty of other possible textures. Actually, to have your ice cream ready in advance, you just need to make your mixtures ahead of time and freeze them for 24 hours. And then you choose the texture you want and the Ninja takes care of everything. What did we think about it? We thought it was pretty good. It's true that it's a lot less bulky than other methods. You just need a bit of planning to prepare your ice cream 24 hours in advance, and the results? We made 2 recipes. It's pretty convincing. You get the same textures as in our favorite ice creams. It also lets you be creative because with ice cream you can do all sorts of things. So, if you have a bit of space in your kitchen and you're a big ice cream lover, well, Prime Days is the right time to get the Ninja Creamy. It's 190 euros. You could say that's a melting price. For us, at the office, the ice cream break in summer is going to become sacred. It's even a union demand. So we managed to convince accounting. I hope I brought you some useful information and refreshed you a bit with this selection. As always, feel free to put the products you love in the comments of this video. Once again, please don't include any links. Otherwise, your comment won't appear on YouTube if you want to find our other product selections that are still relevant. We have a playlist with all the multi-product videos we've made. If you're going on vacation soon, we wish you an excellent trip. We'll see each other again soon for the next video. Now I'm going to eat some ice cream because it's hot with all these lights.